My name is Irma Wani Othman from Universiti Malaysia Sabah. This paper established a snapshot on the relevance of the National Entrepreneurship Policy 2030 in meeting the needs and strengthening the country's entrepreneurial ecosystem. In this context, the focus is to identify various types of government development programs in support of entrepreneurs, while creating a strong and competitive enterprise. Among the topics discussed were related to the significance of national entrepreneurship policies such as cultural challenges and empower local entrepreneurs, technology integration in entrepreneurship development, an initiative for sustainable ecosystem. The direction of the discussion is on the country's desire to realize superior entrepreneurship, thus strengthening the entrepreneurial development ecosystem. In fact, the emphasis of government program initiatives is focused on measuring results, intensifying collaboration across ministries, agencies, and industries, enhancing the ability of entrepreneurs to be resilient, competitive, and global in character, and preparing entrepreneurs to be catalysts of trends and markets. Since the beginning of 2020, the country has introduced an idea known as common prosperity as a noble effort by the government towards making Malaysia a rapidly developing country in a sustainable manner followed by economic stability. The idea also aims to reduce the existence of economic disparities in Malaysia, while further increasing income in the supply chain. With regard to this idea, there are several categories of groups that will be given special focus, such as youth, senior citizens, women, native, indigenous people, and not forgetting low-income households, namely the B40 group. The first thrust is on the structuring and improvement of the country's business and industrial ecosystem. This first thrust aims to encourage a transformation in the ecosystem of business, industry, and entrepreneurs in order to move in line with the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Thus, high-value industries can be produced and remain relevant over time, while continuing to meet the needs of the economy in the future. The second thrust is related to new growth sectors. In this thrust, good and strategic investment can be a guarantee to Malaysia in the outcome to become a producer country that is able to produce its own products and gain international recognition. The next third thrust is the reform of the nation's talent and energy resources. In this regard, the restructuring of human capital development will be able to produce first-class-minded group, competitive, and skilled people, as well as be able to meet the needs of various industrial sectors. The fourth thrust is focused on efforts to improve the labor market and employee income. This fourth thrust aims to reduce the country's dependence on foreign labor. In this regard, the industry needs to go through a phase of transition to services that have high value and are able to provide better employment and income opportunities for industrial workers. The fifth thrust is focused on aspects of strengthening social well-being. In this thrust, the principle of meeting economic needs will be a key principle in the effort to provide appropriate assistance to the marginalized. That way, this group will be able to get out of the relative poverty of life. The sixth thrust focuses on the development of an inclusive region. In this context, economic centers must be developed throughout the country so that economic growth will be broader, fairer, and can reduce the economic gap that exists between the regions. The seventh, which is the last thrust, is to increase social capital among the global community. In this case, stable and inclusive economic growth will be achieved by increasing the formation of the community's identity, especially the youth. With that, a society that is knowledgeable, prioritizes unity, rational, and matured will be born. One of the main and first challenges that need to be addressed to empower local entrepreneurs is from the aspect of culture and thinking. In this context, entrepreneurs should understand that the success achieved by an entrepreneur is not entirely dependent on assistance or initiatives contributed by the government alone, but also depends on the efforts and skills possessed. Even so, it does not mean that the government should leave this group idle. The government also plays a significant role in planning effective strategies so that these entrepreneurs can continue to thrive without relying too much on assistance by certain parties. At the same time, every entrepreneur needs to have a strong entrepreneurial spirit if they want to push themselves to the national and global level. However, in such cases, entrepreneurs need to change their mindset first. This is said because many entrepreneurs think that being an entrepreneur is to meet needs, not to seize opportunities. Thus, fixed thinking needs to be changed to growth thinking, which means that every citizen of this country needs to be educated and think outside the box and look at things through a variety of different perspectives. The second challenge is from a technological aspect. Today, technology is something that is very significant in a society and has become an important tool that contributes to the increasing competitiveness in the economic aspect not only in Malaysia, but around the world. Even so, one of the main challenges often faced by many enterprises in Malaysia is the absorption of technology among the semi-skilled. There is no denying that there are still those who have difficulty adapting to the rapid culture, especially among young generation and increasingly sophisticated technological development of the present century when it involves costly infrastructure. When this happens, then the scaling of productivity will become directly stunted. This also causes competition between local entrepreneurs and global entrepreneurs is hindered, as well as a challenge to these entrepreneurs due to the limited product market. If this situation is not addressed at an immediate pace, then the country's efforts towards innovation-based entrepreneurship will be slowed down and affected. The third challenge is from the aspect of education and skills. One of the issues that arises in relation to this aspect is the difficulty of balancing between the supply and demand of labor involving different sectors. In this context, it is undeniable that many graduates have degrees, yet are not accepted due to lack of added value. This is said so because employers nowadays are very meticulous in selecting employees, and do not look at the degree they possess alone. In the meantime, there are also many graduates who are in a dilemma, when forced to have a job that is different from the qualification. This situation is also an issue because as a graduate, the courage to try new things must be in you. Graduates should also think far ahead and wisely take the opportunities that are available due to the increasing employment factors of today's competition. If every graduate has these criteria, then the issue of unemployment among graduates can be reduced, thus contributing energy in various career sectors. However, the implementation of the digital economy also has its own challenges and needs to be addressed by all parties involved so that this new industrial technology transition can be implemented optimally at all levels. Rural and urban digital divide. Among the challenges in the implementation of the digital economy in Malaysia is the digital divide among the rural and urban population. The digital divide is not something foreign to our country. However, the current situation has resulted in a widening of the digital divide. The subject of education is an essential one that is being contested in the problem of bridging the digital divide between rural and urban populations. The closure of educational institutions at various levels has placed a burden on students and teachers, especially those in rural areas. To ensure that students continue to get an education, e-learning methods have been introduced to extend the teaching and learning process during this pandemic era. Due to a lack of internet connection in Malaysia, many students in remote locations are unable to participate in teaching and learning activities smoothly. For students from the B40 family group, although the government implements online learning, many children are unable to follow it because they do not have internet connection, and many parents do not have the money to purchase learning materials for their children. This situation also contributes to the digital divide between urban and rural areas because now, digital education is no longer an option but a mandatory requirement. Geographical factors also contribute to the increasing digital divide in Malaysia. This is said because there are still many rural areas in Malaysia, especially in Sabah and Sarawak, that still have not received good line access. This issue will undoubtedly hinder students' capacity to follow teaching and learning online sessions smoothly, calling into question teaching and learning online effectiveness in promoting educational equity. Digital poverty. The spread of the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the reality of vulnerability to well-being and could increase inequality of Malaysians in a new form, namely digital poverty. A new threat is expected to further cloud the debate on the reality of digital inclusivity and exclusivity in Malaysia. In general, digital poverty is defined as a person's inability to use electronic equipment. In contrast to the rural population, which suffers from a digital divide. However, digital poverty not only occurs in rural areas but also among the urban population. The weakness of an individual's skills in using digital devices despite having internet access will inevitably complicate one's daily life, especially now during this pandemic era. For example, the world of work encompasses nearly all key aspects of life such as work from home, education sector, online learning, banking sector, online banking, business sector, e-commerce, and so on. Based on the Malaysian Communications and Multimedia Commission report, 2016 has recorded the highest percentage of Internet mastery weaknesses. Banking fraud. In the face of this digital economy transformation, online banking should be practiced for everyday use. However, most Malaysians cannot afford to practice it due to the frequent occurrence of online banking scams. As a result of this issue, many Malaysians are reluctant to conduct online transactions despite the fact that online banking is one of the demands of the digital economy's implementation. According to a statement from the Association of Banks in Malaysia, there are various types of financial fraud scams used by scammer, and Macau scam is one of the financial scams that involve the loss of huge amounts of money. Cases of Macau scams are on the rise, and the public must know ways to overcome or avoid getting entangled and falling victim to such scam syndicates. We saw many online banking scams involving the purchase of face masks in the early days of this outbreak. Weakness of cybersecurity level. A weak level of cybersecurity would inevitably lead to an increase in cybercrime in our country's many sectors. For example, in early 2021, we were startled by the leakage of government data and personal information of the people by the hacker group Anonymous Malaysia. This jeopardized cybersecurity would also pose a challenge to our country's economic sector in the digital age. Malaysia has suffered billions of ringgit in losses as a result of cybercrime. Malaysia is ranked 6th most vulnerable to cyber criminals in the 2014 Sabah Security Threat Report, alongside several other countries including Hong Kong, Taiwan, Thailand, China, India, and Indonesia. These cyber attacks involve the exploitation of the Internet for a variety of illegal cross-border activities, including drug trafficking, human trafficking, financial fraud and money laundering. The manufacturing industry is one of the most often hacked industries according to the Outlook study. According to the 2016 Cybersecurity Intelligence Index, it is ranked second, behind healthcare. However, in 2017 things changed, and about one-third of all cyber attacks in the second quarter of the year targeted the manufacturing sector. It is obvious that the problem of an inadequate cybersecurity system will stifle our country's economic growth as well as the digital economy's implementation plan. The variety of entrepreneurship development programs that have been established aim to encourage the development of entrepreneurs by establishing resilient and sustainable businesses. Its goal is to optimize performance as well as creating opportunities for entrepreneurs to grow and advance their businesses through market expansion, innovation, and increased productivity. The programs offered can be classified into numerous categories based on their areas of specialization. The specialization areas are financial funding, research grants, capacity building training, infrastructure, business premises, equipment, technology, market access, social enterprise, and internationalization. Additionally, a research grant project is one type of funding support used to stimulate demand-driven innovation initiatives aimed at increasing productivity through the enhancement of an industry's or enterprise's existing product's value for market needs. Looking at several existing programs and initiatives and the recent announcement of the pre-H8 in 2020 incentives, several improvements to the existing policy are proposed to ensure its benefits are more focused on graduates and youth as a whole. The advancement of digital technology has resulted in modifications to existing business models as well as the introduction of new ones. Several government provisions, initiatives, and programs have been introduced to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 crisis on the people and the country's economy. Most of the initiatives announced are comprehensive, including benefits to youth and new graduates who have the opportunity to become entrepreneurs in this time of pandemic by becoming an online merchant, which is also a trending job now. The National Institute of Entrepreneurship has placed emphasis on product development modules to be enhanced in 2021. At the same time, for financial assistance, the National Institute of Entrepreneurship will also constantly match with banking agencies. Among the sessions available during the live broadcast held using the Facebook platform is a session with entrepreneurs where they can directly present the problems they go through when applying for financial assistance. The institutions involved are the Social Security Organization, Tekin Nasional, and Bank Simpanan Nasional. During the eBiz Clinic, the National Institute of Entrepreneurship will look at entrepreneurs who need finance and will be channeled to certain agencies for assistance. One of the initiatives taken to help entrepreneurs is through financial financing. In this case, developing a business using own capital entirely is very difficult. Therefore, financial institutions can offer financing to help local entrepreneurs. Among the financial support that offers capital to entrepreneurs in Malaysia are People's Trust Council known as MARA and Tekin Nasional. Both of these bodies can provide development funds especially for the low-income group B40. Apart from that, there are other bodies that provide financial financing services such as Credit Guarantee Corporation and Malaysian Industrial Development Finance Berhad. Credit Guarantee Corporation assists entrepreneurs in the form of bank guarantees, while Malaysian Industrial Development Finance Berhad offers soft loans to borrowers. The second initiative taken to help entrepreneurs is through research and development grants. The grant is intended to promote various programs based on innovation and market demand. Through these grants as well, entrepreneurs can add value to a product through an increase in productivity. Cooperation between entrepreneurs, researchers, and industry is a very important relationship to ensure that demand based on market demand can be met. Among the grants introduced were the Vendor Research and Commercialization Grant and the Demand-Driven Innovation Project produced by the Public-Private Research Network. The Demand-Driven Innovation Project aims to provide solutions through technology in overcoming the problems faced by entrepreneurs, while creating a form of knowledge-friendly ecosystem for entrepreneurs who need entrepreneurial knowledge. Entrepreneurship is one of the important elements contained in the 11th Malaysia Plan. Therefore, the government has formulated various types of development programs in support of entrepreneurs, while creating a strong and competitive enterprise. At the same time, these programs also aim to ensure that performance can be optimized, thereby increasing productivity and large-scale marketing. The goal of the IPT Entrepreneurship Policy and Strategic Plan is to inculcate the elements and values of entrepreneurship into the higher education system. This application can indirectly change the mindset of students of higher education institutions from job seekers to job generators. Under the Training and Strengthening of Human Resources Program, there is another responsible body, namely the Ministry of International Trade and Industry. Ministry of International Trade and Industry is a body that provides targeted training to entrepreneurs. Among the trainings offered by Ministry of International Trade and Industry include Ministry of International Trade and Industry High-Performing Programs, Ministry of International Trade and Industry Business Scale-Up Program, and Ministry of International Trade and Industry Startup Program through the Ministry of International Trade and Industry Bumiputera Business Coaching Program. The National Entrepreneurship Institute will offer 5 new industries in 2021. Namely elderly care, sports and extreme activities, tuition centers, kindergartens and nanny services. Next is the Training and Strengthening of Human Resources Programs. In this program, the Cooperative Institute of Malaysia provides services to entrepreneurs in the form of basic training. This basic training is able to encourage entrepreneurs to develop cooperatives on a more comprehensive scale. In the meantime, there is also a program known as Professional Training and Education for Growing Entrepreneurs, Protégé, which provides training services specially to graduates who want to venture into entrepreneurship. At the same time, Protégé also provides marketability training to make it easier for graduates to get jobs after graduation. Besides that, there are also programs in the form of infrastructure assistance to support the development of those who venture into entrepreneurship in Malaysia. In addition to infrastructure, the assistance provided also includes support in terms of equipment or business premises. The program implemented has a clear goal, which is to further boost entrepreneurial activities in the country. As a result, there are several agencies responsible for providing all facilities to entrepreneurs, one of which is the People's Trust Council or known as Majlis Amanah Rakyat. In addition, Seram Berhad is also responsible for assisting entrepreneurs through standard compliance assessment services, as well as the provision of infrastructure and industry equipment. National Corporation is responsible for helping entrepreneurs find strategic areas to set up business premises. This assistance is launched through a program known as Prosper Property. Apart from that, the Malaysian Palm Oil Board Agency is directly involved with technology transfer seminars for the purpose of commercialization. Not to be missed is the Malaysian Automotive Robotics and IoT Institute. The agency provides assistance in terms of technology adaptation programs based on Industrial Revolution 4.0 and focuses on the automotive sectors in Malaysia. The initiative or program taken to help entrepreneurs is access to the market. In this context, access to the market is very important to enable entrepreneurs to get a wider market and not focus on the domestic market only. At the same time, such access is a shift for these groups to explore new potentials in order to expand their business internationally as well as increase direct exports. As a result, there are several initiatives that have been implemented in collaboration with various agencies and ministries in helping entrepreneurs to reach large-scale markets. One of the agencies involved is the Ministry of International Trade and Industry. Ministry of International Trade and Industry's main mission is to formulate effective strategies to ensure that Malaysia is able to compete in the international trade arena through the production of quality products with high added value. At the same time, Ministry of International Trade and Industry is also responsible for promoting bilateral or multilateral trade cooperation between Malaysia and regional and ASEAN countries, as well as other countries. In the meantime, the function of Ministry of International Trade and Industry is also to strengthen skills, especially in the aspect of management among entrepreneurs to ensure that entrepreneurs in the country can get maximum benefits. Ministry of International Trade and Industry is a liaison in trade activities responsible for the coordination of small and medium enterprise development in the country. The National Institute of Entrepreneurs has trained a total of 78,872 entrepreneurs through 390 training programs and exceeded the annual target of year 2020. Overall sales revenue also jumped by Ringgit Malaysia 14.9 million and 452 new jobs were created as a result of the mentoring program organized by the National Entrepreneurship Institute. When the Movement Control Order was implemented in 2020, the National Institute of Entrepreneurship has created a new initiative, the National Institute of Entrepreneurship BizLive program. The program has 151 sessions covering topics related to experience, expertise and tips for entrepreneur resurgent after the COVID-19 pandemic. The Ministry of Entrepreneurs Development and Cooperatives has recognized this program and awarded the Silver Award in the online coaching category. Therefore, the National Institute of Entrepreneurship has contributed many roles to various aspects, from the entrepreneurial aspects to the government aspect. The state government provides the Blueprint Poverty Eradication Assistance Program to the people in need. This assistance is part of the 33 People Care Initiative program in the Selangor state government to enable the community to come out of the cycle of poverty that is being faced, especially during the pandemic season. This program has been implemented through the State Standing Committee on Empowerment and Socio-Economic Development. The main goal of the program is to improve the economic status through the generation or increase of income for individuals with income below Ringgit Malaysia 1,500 per month or household income below Ringgit Malaysia 3,000. This assistance can be applied by all micro-entrepreneurs and especially involving small traders through the provision of equipment assistance such as machines based on ongoing enterprises. The assistance program is open to all applicants who meet the conditions and eligibility set by the state government. The small and medium enterprise industry includes 97.73% of the total establishment in the country's business sector, involving a total of 645,136 business entities registered with the government. Out of the number mentioned, 77% are involved in micro-enterprises. A total of 90% is from SMEs in the country involved in the services sector, while another 5.9% are in the manufacturing sector, construction is 3% and agriculture are 1%. The natives are more involved in SME businesses, which make up 30% of the total number of SMEs in the country to help those who face difficulties in continuing their business. The government has allocated Ringgit Malaysia 1.2 billion through 13 existing ministries, along with 3 agencies to implement programs for the native small and medium enterprises to ensure they do not lag in improving the quality of their business. In addition, entrepreneurs can apply for assistance through the Hijrah Selangor Microcredit Loan Program. The program assistance provided was mostly triggered and inspired by the Selangor state government. The Hijrah program made in the state of Selangor has provided financial loans in stages starting since 2015. Previously, such programs in the form of financial loans were known as Integrated Microcredit, which has combined schemes L, Mimbar, and Wala microcredit schemes which were implemented in 2010. This program is a system that is capable of easy and fast capital financing and does not burden the hawkers and small traders who have faced the problem of lack of capital, and opportunities in obtaining additional capital. These tiered loans are categorized according to Scheme 1 to Scheme 4, and the total approval is given up to Ringgit Malaysia 50,000 according to the conditions set by the government. Finally, the government has also provided facilities for virtual operations and transactions. This is said because it needs to be developed to help the business operations of entrepreneurs as well as small-medium enterprise, because we cannot be sure when the pandemic that is plaguing the whole country will disappear. As a result, the government needs to have a strategic plan in organizing measures in the context of transformational entrepreneurship transformation, where the domestic economy needs to be prepared with methods of operations and transactions to withstand the shock of an unforeseen pandemic. The National Entrepreneurship Policy was introduced as a guide to provide a holistic framework or ecosystem for the development of entrepreneurship in Malaysia, which today is seen to be growing rapidly. This policy and its overall strategic thrust are the cornerstones of the country's competitiveness in our time in the face of global economic competition and the explosion of technological change that is directly related to Industry 4.4. In this regard, Malaysia needs to be more sensitive and proactive for this policy to achieve that purpose. The development of an entrepreneurially minded Malaysian society is fundamental in making Malaysia a superior entrepreneurial nation by 2030. The application of entrepreneurial culture through the implementation of the 6 strategic thrusts under the National Entrepreneurship Policy is a catalyst for the transformation process of an inclusive economy and the country's entrepreneurial community. Entrepreneurs get various benefits from the National Entrepreneurship Policy 2030, which is very useful in business, especially for entrepreneurs who have just started a business and small trader. This includes getting various incentives channeled through agencies under the Ministry of Entrepreneurship Development and Cooperative to assist entrepreneurs, whether informal or not, and those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Through programs, training, and mentoring, the agency offers entrepreneurial capacity building initiatives to entrepreneurs registered with Ministry of Entrepreneurship Development and Cooperative. With the cooperation of industry practitioners, professionals, and government agencies, this agency also ensures that the programs organized meet the needs and strengthen the country's entrepreneurial ecosystem. The nation's aspiration to realize superior entrepreneurship can be successful by strengthening the entrepreneurial development ecosystem through measurement of results, intensifying collaboration across ministries, agencies, and industries, enhancing the ability of entrepreneurs to be resilient, competitive, and global in character, and preparing entrepreneurs to be catalysts and leaders of trends and markets. Thank you.